your #1 source for sports. 97.1 The Fan.
Doing it live on a Thursday edition of the program. Once again, royalty in studio. You know, Pantone has this great thing, Buckeye Nation problems, where they, Urban and those guys talk about, there's just guys, big pimps walking around the Woody Hayes, or Eddie's one of those guys. If he's walking around, then they'll tweet, oh, just ran into Eddie George, hashtag Buckeye Nation problems. Well, we have hashtag 97.1 The Fan problems because Eddie George in studio with us again. Walking the halls, just decided to drop by. Weekend, by the way. Thank you, weather gods, for making it 60 degrees on Saturday. Yeah. When the best players in the country.
That it's like
right.
An illusion, right?
There's any way we could get a little sun, maybe?
Yeah, it's here. It is January, 60 degrees. Sun is out.
Right.
Yeah, you don't have to
there's no snow.
Very mild winter.
Very mild.
Very mild. This is as bad as it gets.
The last 5 years has been very mild. Average has been January 60 plus.
Vaughn Bell, you're choosing between Alabama and Georgia. You're up this weekend. Look, it's perfect here. We got everything. Same thing you got in Tuscaloosa. Same type of deal. I want to ask you about this information about Junior Seau coming out today. Confirmed that he had the CTE, a progressive disease associated with repeated head trauma. For example, I saw Bobby Carpenter tweet out. He said, you know, what a surprise, he played linebacker for 19 years. When you play at the level with which you played, Eddie, and you take the beating that you take and the collision that you take in the hole, do you know when you're engaging in that act that it can have this type of damage? And if you know that, would you do it again?
I don't necessarily know if the hits caused the brain damage. I mean, you can look at that. I mean, or the behavior. I'm pretty sure you probably open anybody's head, you probably find the same thing. I don't know. But I have such a passion for the game and a love for the game. I was drawn to the game. It was in my spirit that I had to answer that. And it's different for everybody. You know, it's unfortunate that Junior was dealing with that. But I think there are a lot of other factors that may have went into his decision to take his own life. Not solely based on the hits, because there have been thousands of players that have played the game. And we're talking about a few instances where guys have committed suicide, and it's related back to the brain issue. But you know, there's still research to be done on this. I don't think that is the tail end all be all. I think it's a part of the equation, but not the total equation. So to answer your question, knowing what I know now, I would play the game again. Going through, you know, when you leave the game, no matter what point in time it was going to happen, the transition period is critical, and you have to be in a situation where you're emotionally stable, financially stable, and you have to have a strong support system to say, you know what, yeah, you've been the guy that we can go to for problems, for money, and so forth, but you need support going through this. How can we help you? And I think every athlete, no matter how long you played, needs to get counseling when you leave the game, because there's a transition that you have to go through from a mental perspective, emotional perspective, to deal with the next phase of your life. And you need a guideline to do that. And that's, you know, back to my point, why I'm back at Ohio State, to provide education on that, to share those stories with our student athletes, whether it be Junior Seau or the young man in Kansas City. You know, the decisions that you make when you go through this process. Here's what you can expect to see, and what is your game plan going to be afterwards? You know, how are you going to provide for your life, and what is it going to be your life? What's going to be your life purpose moving forward? Because football and sports in general is just a platform for greater things to come, for you to build upon. It's your brand. So what are you going to do because of this? Some guys, they stay stuck in that period and they can't move beyond it. But with the proper network, the proper support, the proper mindset in what you're thinking and how you're moving forward, you can successfully move into the next phase of your life.